Sir, thank you for making time for WION. And let me begin this edition of our interview with the question that Prime Minister Modi from the ramparts of the Red Fort said that Panchayat polls will be organized soon. Is it a good idea? And can the polls in Valley be organized?
You see, whether it's a good idea or bad idea, it's not the question. The question is the people's representation starts from Panchayat. Panchayat is the basic democratic institution. Therefore, revival of Panchayat is essential if you want the people to do their work. Rather than the government officers looking after the situation, let people look after the situation of their area. And I think Panchayat election should be held. I held it when I came to power in '96 under terrible circumstances. We have no difference today. But then there is going to be some tragedies, obviously, because those who do not want democratic process to thrive, who do not want that democracy should survive, will definitely try and see that it doesn't take place. But as far as Farooq Abdullah is concerned, I think it is a very good idea. It should take place because people must decide their own thing. And that is what Panchayat is all about.
So what is required today for Kashmir to return to normalcy or a modicum of normalcy?
You see, there are a number of things that you have to do. It's all right to say Jamhuriyat, Kashmiriyat, Insaniyat. But then where is Insaniyat? If some people throw stones, the entire force goes and beats people up, breaks their homes, is not what is required. What is required is you have to understand there must be some thing that people want. We want peace. And how are we going to achieve peace? Peace is not going to come from the barrel of the gun. It has never come from the barrel of the gun. It has to come by talking, by meeting situation that is there, and with our neighbor. Our neighbor is the one that has also helped in promoting this, what is happening in the valley. And unless the neighbor is brought also on the table, this situation will not improve. Luckily, the new Prime Minister is taking over today. His utterances have been very good about India. I hope we will reciprocate and try and find a way out. There is no other way. And that is what we need to do.
So then why do you say that it's not possible to have peace in the valley without Pakistan on table?
You see, where is the thing emerging from? Who has started this whole thing? How did it grow? Where were they trained in the beginning? You cannot ignore that part of it, that they are very much part of it. And what is happening there, they are also responsible for that. And unless you get them on board to bring peace, they also have their grievances. Well, obviously, those can be settled at the table. Vajpayee tried. Unfortunately, he couldn't win election in 2004 again. Probably things would have been better. We have to, work on those lines.
So what are the grievances? Indian grievances that they are exporting terror?
See, look, there may be grievances against me. There may be grievances about another leader that is there. See, grievances are there. And you cannot win those grievances by only force. It's not possible. Force is not going to give you the results that you want. Insaniyat ki baat kya hai? What is insaniyat? There must be something pinching your foot. Let's find out what is pinching your foot. And that can only be found out when you sit at the table and start talking about these matters.
So whom do you talk to in Pakistan? You said Imran Khan.
Imran Khan today,
you have an army there?
Imran Khan has today taken over. He has not even been sworn in. Mm-hmm. But his utterances are good. And the party that helped Imran Khan to come to the election is army. Let's be frank about it. Army has behind him. So obviously, if Imran makes the right move, army will be behind him. I don't say the Prime Minister and Prime Minister should talk immediately. That is not on. I say, let other avenues be found, whereby you can come to a sort of a solution where the two prime ministers can then sit down and settle down. Not like Agra, which was organized after Kargil war, and it went off, with no results.
But sir, it's there for everyone to see that Prime Minister Modi made overtures to Nawaz Sharif, and we know where Nawaz Sharif is today.
Look, not only Nawaz Sharif, what about the others? They are all facing trials. Today, Zardari is also being put onto the mat. That is their country, you see. But no positive move just because you have dinner at the house and you land and you congratulate them. That is not the thing. You have to settle down at the table and then talk, because they claim entire Kashmir. We are claiming the area they have. Well, how can you get on with it? Both of these parties have to balance and come to a situation whereby at least peace will return to the subcontinent. Entire SAARC is held to ransom because of the tragedies India and Pakistan face. Unless this tragedy is got rid of, SAARC will never succeed.
In past, you have also spoken about line of control. Do you think that those ideas in which line of control gets a sanctity of a border, is it workable?
What about Ireland? How much of bloodshed did Ireland have between the south and the north? Look at today. I've just come back from there. There are no borders. You cross, you even don't know that you've crossed into the other territory. People from here are working there, people from there are working here. Peace. They use pounds in Northern Ireland, they use euro in the other country. You cannot differentiate. The only way you can find out that you crossed into the other country is GPS system on your car, that you moved in.
Is it a workable idea, sir?
Why not? देखिए वो कहते हैं, if there is a will, there is always a way. If there is no will, there will be no way. There should be the will on both sides, that for God's sake, 70 years is enough. We've had enough trouble, enough tragedies on both sides.
So are you saying that there needs to be an overture from the Indian side towards Pakistan, or a mutual overture for two people to come and talk, or a delegation level talk?
I am sure if there is a will, they'll find a way. Whether we make an overture or they make an overture, it doesn't make a damn difference. The point is, we need a way forward. And that way forward has to be there. We can't go on forever with this battle. We are just destroying each other and not getting anywhere. The world is moving faster forward. Our rupee is falling faster down. How long? How long are we going to have poverty, ill health, people dying of starvation, farmers committing suicide? How long? Will that money not be spent for better things? Better canal work? Today, entire Kerala is flooded. How much of destruction there? How are we going to meet that cost of restoring order there? 2014, we had a severe flood. Even till today, money has not been paid to those people. How long? That's what I'm sick about. How long shall I see this tragedy between these two nations?
Farooq Saab, at the beginning of the interview, you used the word stone pelting in the binary of military. How has this come about in the valley? This binary was not existent 5 years back.
That is the problem. Let's get to the bottom of it. Let's meet. Has there ever been any political meeting of political parties here with the present government so that we can find a way forward? By merely changing one chief minister to the other chief minister, does it solve the situation? No. Talk is the only way forward.
But you have an interlocutor, and nothing much has happened.
Tell me, have you heard anything from interlocutor? Have you heard what has happened to previous interlocutors? Badgaonkar is no longer alive. His report is lying here. Report by the present governor, Vora, is also lying there. What has happened to those reports? Why can't you present those reports to the parliament and let people of India see what their report is all about? Why are we shirking away? We're not anti-India. We don't want to leave India. We're born in this nation and we want to progress with this nation. But for God's sake, get rid of this damn tragedy that we face every day. People on borders die. They fire 10 rounds of Shells, we fire 100 rounds of shell. Who are we losing? Precious lives. Women, children, old people, soldiers, officers, on both sides. How long can we afford it? And foreign powers are making whoopee about it. Because we buy guns from them, bullets from them, everything from them, planes from them, both nations. The money that could be spent for the welfare of the people. How long? How long are you going to do this?
Farooq Saab, tell me, the violence or the unrest which India has witnessed in Valley, in your opinion, was it a result of PDP-BJP alliance, a political fallout of it?
I am National Conference President. If I say anything about it, it will appear that Farooq Abdullah is touching a raw nerve. I think it is for you journalists to see, for you people to go and talk to people. Has it been good for the people? Has it brought people together? Has it made India stronger? Or has it divided India? Has it divided people into Hindu and Muslim? Which I had never seen before. Are we dividing India further? What for? Is it for the good of India? If we fight religious battles, India is for all. Preamble of the Constitution clearly declares this nation is for all. What your religion is, what your region is, what your place is, what you eat, it's for everyone. You have as much right as I have. But do we see this happening? Are we further taking people away?
Is the mainstream politics impacting Kashmiri discourse, muscular nationalism?
Yes, I think so. You know, do people really understand this here? Is media trying to project this? Media is one of the strongest things today. Why is media silent on it? It will only tell you so many soldiers have died, so many militants have died, in here, in there. Does it show anything else? Does it ever show that a Kashmiri Pandit who is living there has no relations and the Muslims are doing his last rites? Does it show that? It doesn't show these things. Hatred is promoted. This hatred has to be dampened to save this nation.
Farooq Saab, tell me, you have written about it, you have spoken about it. What is the principal objection of National Conference when it comes to Article 35A?
We are going to oppose, in very clear terms, in the Supreme Court, removal of this article. That is our faith. Our faith is Article 370, on which Jammu and Kashmir joined India. It never merged with India. Remember, other states merged with India. Jammu and Kashmir joined India. It could easily have gone to Pakistan with Muslim majority. We could have easily gone to Pakistan because Pakistan was for Muslims. But we didn't choose Pakistan. We chose Gandhi's India, where everyone had the same respect and same place. And to preserve that, Article 370 was brought in a larger Hindu majority India, to safeguard everyone. You remember Article 370,
are you saying
yet you don't
it's
remember
an article of
Arunachal,
faith?
you can't buy land. You can't buy land.
Are you saying it is an article of faith?
You can't buy in many places of Northeast, you can't buy land. But you remember Kashmir. Yet we made a law in which if an industrialist wants to come, we'll give him 90 years lease and perpetual renewal. Does Arunachal give you that? Does Northeast give you that?
Why is it happening? Is it because of there's a discourse that in the mainstream India that somehow the amalgamation of J&K is not complete? Is that the idea which is dominating the politics?
What do you mean
today?
amalgamation is not complete? You see we are not part of India? Even with 370, are we not part of India? Where have you seen we are not part of India? A completely wrong way of describing this situation. We're absolutely part of India. That is why the battle lies. Because in the hearts of some of the people, they don't have this feeling that we're part of India. That feeling should be taken out of them and made them to believe that we are as much part of India as any state of India.
Tell me one thing, Farooq Saab. Is there a principal difference of approach in the present NDA government and the one ran by Atal Bihari Vajpayee? Can you elucidate that difference for a viewer?
Let me tell you. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was a very different man. He came from RSS, but Jansangh, fought my father. Yet, he realized that if India has to move forward, you have to move with everyone. Even National Conference. My son was his minister. He realized that if India has to grow, it has to grow with Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, everyone, even those who have no religion. He fought RSS from inside, asking them to change with today, not what was 100 years ago, that we have to change and build a nation for all, not for one. That is the thing. And he was strong. That is why his name was Atal. You know what Atal means? Firm, strong as steel. That is Atal. He took decisions which many wouldn't take.
Such as, can you share
I'll tell you one instance. When Kargil war took place, I as Chief Minister went with the General of 15th Corps to areas of Kargil where the Pakistani soldiers were in our bunkers, whether it was Tiger Hill, whether it was the Batalik, that saddle place, they were all sitting in our bunkers. When I went there, the commanders there told me that we will win this war, but we'll lose a lot of people unless we have Air Force. Unless we have Air Force to back us, because there are no trees, there's nothing. And we have to climb in the night, in the dark. And they're sitting up there. I came here. I met him. Home Minister was there. And I saw Air Force Chief going out. When I told him this, he said, हाँ बिल्कुल ठीक है, करना पड़ेगा, अभी तक इन्हें क्यों नहीं किया? He called the Air Chief back. The Air Chief said, it will escalate the war. All borders will open up. He said, they walked 100 miles into us. Did they not think that the war will be escalating? Every border will open? The chief could say nothing. He said, use everything that you have. And that is how we won Kargil war. That Musharraf had, that the chief Prime Minister had to go all the way to Clinton, Nawaz Sharif, to request, please ask them to withdraw, to allow us to withdraw. They lost the Battle of Kashmir on that day because they used to project all the time, it is the jihadis who are fighting, it is not we who are fighting. They had to accept it was they who were fighting and not jihadis.
Farooq sir, how do you remember Atal Bihari Vajpayee? You had a long association with him. You interacted with him on numerous issues. There was a point of time when the newspapers were full of articles that perhaps you will become the Vice President in early 2000. Can you take our viewers through your relationship with Vajpayee?
You know, these are things, papers always say these things. There is something what is known as fate. Fate didn't have it for me. So I couldn't become Vice President. So how does it matter? I am still a citizen of India and proud citizen of India. And one of the things I must say, he was a great man, very sensitive person. You know, he loved life as much as you and I love life. He wasn't a politician that we see today who hide things under the carpet. He used to do everything on the top of the carpet. He was a straight man. He talked straight, never around this bush and that bush.
Did you share his love for food?
I do share his love for food, and I share his life. You know one good thing about him? Whenever we went on a diplomatic tour anywhere, you know what my son said? Every country that he went to, one evening he used to take everybody who accompanied him to the best and the choicest restaurant to enjoy the cuisine of that country. That was Vajpayee.
So taking you
Who
back,
carried everybody, how small, how big, how medium you were, he carried them. Running 23 parties is not a joke. And people with different temperaments, God Almighty, had he managed. And managed it so successfully, I wonder whether anybody else can ever do it.
tell me, Farooq Saab, and you have mentioned this in one of the answers, is the binary of terrorists versus Indian army affecting the larger process of talks in the Kashmir Valley?
You see,
Because the whole thing
what is
gets beamed
happening?
into two.
You see what is happening, and I'm talking to you straight, not against the army
And it was a
or
straight-
against the police
it was a
or
straight
against
question.
the paramilitary force. I don't want to say against them. What happens if suddenly somewhere these people throw stones or fire bullets and things? What happens? The counter damage is so big. The forces enter homes, break everything, as it happened tonight in one of the areas in Kashmir. You are antagonizing people who don't want to be antagonized, who have nothing to do with these people. They then feel, yes, we have no way to go. I don't mind if you get the terrorist, but don't hit the ordinary person, ordinary home, ordinary family. That makes our task, who stand with the nation, far more difficult, extremely difficult.
But Farooq sir, forces are also coming under a huge attack from civil society. Let me complete the question. Whether it's a petrol, whether it's pelting of stones, or whether, let me complete the question, or whether during an operation when people come out so that the terrorists can actually make a way to the safer areas, that is also the hard...
You know, there are two choices. Either you do this, and if you think by doing this you are going to win people, then carry on. But if you think by doing this you are not going to win people, then what are you doing? You're not able to control border. It's vast. They're still crossing. Therefore, that's why I say it's essential that we talk to the other region, other nation. How long? How long will this bitterness continue? One day, वो घड़ा फूट जाएगा. And the escalation will be so big between these two nations. It will be too late to do anything at that time. How many millions will you want to kill? Both have atomic power, and God Almighty.
But Farooq Sahib, isn't it a hard choice to talk to people who perpetrated 26/11?
There is no simple choice. There is no simple choice. If there was a simple choice, I would say yes, there is a simple choice. It's a hard choice, a very hard choice for the Prime Minister to make. Not a simple choice.
And when bodies are coming back every day from
Kashmir. It's not
Kashmir.
an easy choice for the other country, who have been telling their people for 70 years that Kashmir hamara hai. It's not a very simple for them also to turn around and say Kashmir hamara nahi hai. Not a simple term for the Prime Minister to say that there.
Then who does
Let's be frank about it. That we are not dishonest about it. It's difficult for them also, as much as it's difficult for us. Can the Prime Minister of India say, all right, keep that territory? Well, that is yours? And is that possible for that Prime Minister to say, no, this is our territory, that is theirs? Not easy. It's a hard choice. But they'll have to make it. They will have to make it if they want to save subcontinent and the world from the disaster that might come in.
So is it possible to conduct elections, assembly elections in Kashmir? The previous one was a great success and it was a downslide.
You have to conduct, you can't give in. You conducted parliamentary election, I won with great difficulty, but you stopped the election in Anantnag. Now why? Were you afraid? Democracy has to be strengthened. There will be counter tragedies that we may have to face. But democracy has to survive, or you're going to kill democracy and have an autocratic rule. That was the tragedy when you did not hold that Anantnag election. You should have held the election as you held Srinagar election.
What was the reason behind?
You ask people, you will know why they did not take it.
Tell me.
And I hope that is why we say today also, if you're going to go through Panchayat and Town Area Committee elections, then go ahead. Don't withdraw. Then your democratic institutions will never come up.
But how do you do that when most of the political stakeholders cannot even freely move around in the
How
villages?
does it matter? 10 people may vote, 1,000 may not vote, but you'll create an institution that will function. Those 10,000 people will have to go to those 11 people that will be elected for their works. MLAs today, how are they working with all these difficulties? People go to them, people meet them, and tell them of their difficulties. I am MP. Every day they ask me, please, can you give us money for this thing? Can you help us in this thing? These institutions have to be strengthened rather than destroyed.
Before I take you to a couple of national questions, it seems that Kashmir hopped from one assembly election to other, and democracy is from one election to other. It does not percolate in the 5 years between.
One day it will percolate. Why are you worried? You still plod on. You have to plod on. You can't give in. There is no way. Democratic institutions cannot be killed just because we can't do this and we can't do that. Democracy has to grow. You might find, वो कहते हैं, there are turbulent times. Does not mean that turbulence will remain all the time. The floods in Kerala today are in huge spate. But will they remain always there? It's the same thing today in Kashmir. We have a phase. This phase will disappear. It will bloom again.
I admire your optimism, and I think destinies change when leaders are optimistic. Mr. Abdullah, a man was shot in your residence in J&K. Is your life in danger?
Who was shot?
A person who tried to intrude into your residence?
He died.
Yeah. Is your life in danger?
You see, I don't know whose life is in danger. Obviously, I am one of those who has faced death. Not only today, grenade attacks were made on my family. Rockets were fired. When you stand for something, your life is going to be in danger. But then you're not afraid because it's God's will. So long as He wants you to live, you will live. But protection is necessary because the world is dangerous as it is today. The man enters my house. Why? Why did he have to enter my house when neither I am there nor Umar is there? This should be probed. What was the reason? How could he go from the gate, enter the gate, without any damage to his vehicle, entered the gate, drove all the way in, walked into the front door of my house, did all the breaking there, started climbing the stairs up to our bedrooms? Why? How? How did he have knowledge of the house? Isn't this strange? When I have all the protection, how could he get in? There must be a definite thing behind it. Was it a recce to see whether it can be done in future? Who are behind it? This must be looked at. Is the boy innocent, or is it something that is really something behind it? They must look into it and look deep, not just for the sake of looking.
So thank you for making time for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.